was 3:15 in the morning on the clocks, when the piercing sound of the door broke the blissful night silence. At that time I lived alone, in 3-room apartment. I lifted my head from the pillow. I froze, trying to understand if the sound was a part of my dream, or someone really rang. Maybe 20 seconds later, the doorbell rang again. Cursing, I headed to the front door. In a sleepy state, I automatically reached with one hand to handle and with another to the latch to open it. The fact that there was a dark night outside and that someone was ringing the apartment is already suspicious, but I wanted to continue to sleep, so it didn't bother me. I would have opened the door to that night visitor if the following had not happened. Suddenly, a characteristic sound opening my neighbor's door. Finally you got home, I thought. I turned around and wandered back to bed, when suddenly a wild scream cried out beyond the door. The voice belonged to the aforementioned neighbor. From his heart-breaking scream, my soul instantly jumped into my mouth, and I woke up completely. As abruptly the scream began, it stopped. Fear and curiosity, that's what possessed me. Tiptoe, like a spy, I crept to my door and looked on a deep hole. And what I saw, at first I heard a scream, and I wondered, my house, my fortress, you know, nothing to be afraid of. But when I looked in a peephole, I began to hear my own heartbeat. Right in the stairwell, 3 meters from me, lay my fucking neighbor, with frantically shaking limbs. And on him, more precisely, on his body, sat this creature. Creature because I can't say otherwise. It was something seemingly human, more precisely, a woman. She was dressed in a white, blood-stained dress, red loose hair that shook with her head, from the fact that she, in the direct sense of the word, quickly gnawed the poor man's face. She just was sitting and eating him like a hungry dog. Such a horror I have never experienced in my life. Thank God, there was a lamp in the stairwell, otherwise I would not see what was happening and would have came out to see what happened. And I still was standing and watching this. Fear paralyzed me, both my body and muscles. I don't know why, but I didn't even think about calling the police. I just stood and watched. The creature was already picking out and devouring his eyeballs. You can imagine it. No, you cannot. When I saw what she was doing, my brain reacted quickly. I choked. No, I didn't vomit. I just made the characteristic sound. Not loudly. I even put my hand to my mouth. But apparently, I shouldn't have done it. Suddenly, the creature froze. You know, like a dog when you try to take her food. It turned its head to my door, and at that moment I felt sick. I realized that I just betrayed my presence. When she turned around, her face was lit by the stairwell lamp, and I could see. Sticky hair, pale skin, black, bottomless eyes, without an iris in a pupil. Teeth resembling shark teeth, long, all in blood, growing in several rows. Turning her head, her mouth twisted in an incomprehensive smile, and she made the sound that the child makes when he is eating a delicious chocolate bar, and at that moment he is offered another, even more delicious. Such a genuine joyful moan. My legs gave way, I fell, and without taking my eyes off the door, I began to crawl away. I met the wall, and continued to look at my damn door. All of a sudden there was a knock on the door, and the handle of the door started to shake, and later the whole door shook. I couldn't make myself to do anything. I just was sitting and watching. Later, she started to shake the door so hard that it seemed that it would fly out. Unable to control myself, I fainted. I woke up when it was bright outside. Someone was persistently ringing my doorbell. Barely waking up, I heard this jingle. In one moment I felt as scary as in the night, but voices "Open up, it's the police" sounded like a saving human. When I looked in a peephole, I saw two policemen, and behind them lay covered with a yellow cloth body. Of course it was my neighbor's body. Before I opened the door, for 5 minutes I asked them suggestive questions, to make sure that they were not for me. I told them everything as it was, and at the police station I told everything as it was, and to a doctor I told as it was. I was mistaken for a psycho. They dragged me to the hospitals, and a lot of other things. But I know who it was. Everyone decided that some psycho brutally killed the poor fellow. And that's all I saw, and I know that it was not a human. It was something horrible, unreasonable, and my door was scratched and crumpled. What kind of a person is capable of this? A couple of weeks later, I was going home in the evening. It was the first time since that case. I wasn't afraid to be outside in the night time. Going up to my aluminum door, I was stupefied. The word scratched right on the door. Wait. I locked myself in the apartment. More precisely, I climbed on the closet and didn't close my eyes till the morning. I waited for her to start knocking on the door again, but nothing happened. Early in the morning, I took all my stuff and moved into another city, to my sister. I sold the apartment without appearing there anymore. All the furniture and other stuff I left there. If, one night, you wake up from the ringing of the doorbell or knocking on your door, be careful.